He just asking you a question.
You've signed the contract. You've signed the contract, making the city liable.
This was done without transparency, and ICE has already been present in Hazleton.
Last Tuesday, Hazleton City Council had their first public meeting since the police department announced a 287G agreement with the Department of Homeland Security.
All order, Hazleton City Council regular meeting, March 24, 2026, please.
And it was super tense because Hazleton is made up of mostly immigrants and new Americans, so people are really concerned about an agreement with ICE. As a reminder, 287G agreements deputize trained officers with some immigration enforcement powers, and they also financially benefit municipalities through equipment and reimbursements. Although City Council had nothing to do with the agreement, the mayor and the chief of police were present, so this was a good opportunity for the public to meet them face to face. Here's what they had to say.
We don't want anybody to get hurt. We don't want families ripped apart and divided. We want everybody to be safe. And my thoughts are that if our law enforcement is there on site, people of Hazleton will be treated with more respect.
The model we signed gives us training additionally to deal with visas and identify stuff, yes. It gives us the right to give full cooperation with ICE.
So you can act like the ICE agents. That's what you say.
They're not acting like ICE agents. Nothing has changed. Our officers, do we act like ICE agents now? We have no intention of just randomly stopping people. That's a violation of our law. There is nothing different occurring here.
We cooperate with the federal government on a daily basis. We interact with the FBI, the DEA, the U.S. Marshals, and ICE. ICE has been here many, many times in the last 15 months.
But some residents aren't reassured.
I don't feel like I fit in anymore. And that's really sad because I love this place. It makes me cry a little bit, but it's true. I don't want to feel like an outsider. And that's it. Sorry.
And other Hazleton residents welcome immigration enforcement. I met Gabriel while he was sweeping the street outside of the business that he shares with his father. He moved to Hazleton from New York around 5 years ago.
Immigration right now, they gotta come here and put order in this town. My father was a communist in Dominican Republic, and somehow he got his visa. He came here and did the right thing. He worked, he paid taxes. I'm not just saying because he's my father. He did the right thing. We're supposed to come the same way the United States was built. Immigration for coming through the right order, working, paying taxes, and doing the right thing, and moving ahead and bringing your family over here and doing better. But they forgot about that. If you don't want the ICE here, that means you don't belong here. Because I welcome them anytime. I'll be the first one with my Social Security right on a chain. Because we're supposed to. We're supposed to do that. We're supposed to be safe.
Hazleton has a super complex history with immigration, going back more than 100 years. In fact, Hazleton, like most of northeastern Pennsylvania, was built on immigrant labor. And each new culture that would come to Hazleton faced intense discrimination. We're going to touch on that history right now so you can better understand why this council meeting got so tense and why immigration enforcement is such a big deal in Hazleton. Here's Hazleton native Rima Molina.
When my parents came, and like most Italian people, and Polish people, German people, people that didn't speak the language, they weren't welcome, they were abused.
Here's former city councilman and former mayor Joe Iannuzzi to speak about the economic rise and fall of Hazleton.
We were relying on coal. It built Hazleton, and then it started dying off.
Without a cornerstone industry, young people would graduate high school, leave, and never come back. By 2000, Hazleton was a dying, aging city. Enter Latino immigrant families, drawn to Hazleton because of a demand for warehousing jobs, entrepreneurial opportunities, and better schools for their kids. Check out this chart. You see a steady decline in the population of Hazleton from 1940, and then look at 2000. Bam! That's the Latino immigration wave.
These people came in and they start renovating all these businesses, growing businesses. I always say if it weren't for a lot of the Hispanic people, a lot of our this downtown area would have been like a ghost town.
Just like during the coal mining era, immigrant families brought a workforce and population to Hazleton. but the city didn't know what hit it.
We didn't have all the services that were needed to support a growth like that. I mean, they put a strain on our police force. They put a strain on our medical system. They put a strain on our school district. Our crime situation went crazy. It's a small percentage of the immigrants that cause these things, but all of the immigrants got to blame, you know how it is. So we decided that we'll pass an ordinance.
He's talking about former Hazleton Mayor Lou Barletta's 2006 Illegal Immigration Relief Act ordinance, which fined business owners who employed and landlords who housed people without the proper immigration documentation.
I remember 20 years ago, my father as a landlord being scared to rent to anyone that was Spanish in fear that he would be persecuted or get fined or arrested.
Under the ordinance, English would also become the official language in Hazleton, making life super difficult for individuals who were still learning the English language. But the ordinance was never enforced. In fact, it was deemed unlawful, and Hazleton incurred a mountain of debt and legal fees that eventually sent it to Act 47 distressed city status, which it just exited in 2023. The legacy of the ordinance is a rift between generational Hazletonians and newcomers that community members and administrators have worked super hard to repair. So maybe now you could see why a 287G agreement would be such a big deal in Hazleton. Today, immigrants, especially Latinos, are celebrated as vital members of the community, even among individuals who support immigration enforcement. So now that you have that bit of history, let's take it back to the council meeting.
I welcome Latinos. They saved our city. Latinos saved Hazleton, Pennsylvania. I'm the first one to say it. Without them coming here, we would have nothing. You guys wouldn't be sitting there probably, because there'd be nothing to cover. I don't understand the problem. If you are a legal citizen, you have nothing to worry about. Period.
Over the last year, ICE has gained a reputation for violent detentions, even picking people up at their immigration hearings as they try to lawfully go through the process.
So it makes you question, really, is the city, agreeing to this? Is it going to really be beneficial?
What specific policies or training and oversight will be implemented to prevent racial profiling under the 287G agreement?
Is the City Council aware of the fact that the Obama administration ended the 287G task force model program due to civil rights violations and racial profiling?
In early 2025, the Trump administration reinstated the 287G task force model. That's what the Hazleton City Police Department has signed up for.
Their fear-mongering is being pushed that ICE is coming here in this massive raid and going to factories and things like that. That is not what this agreement is about. This agreement is just about us being able to deal with them and be a buffer.
We're not here to divide the community. We work too hard for this community to come back together. I spent 12 years trying to build a relationship with every resident, whether they like me or not.
According to Hazleton City Code, the mayor has full authority over contracts like the 287G agreement, meaning he didn't need to consult council before authorizing Chief Schoonmaker to sign the agreement.
I found out about this in the paper like everybody else did. The mayor runs the departments, and he's the one who's allowed to make these decisions without us.
People are angry they didn't get a say.
It has to be a dialogue between you people and us, not just sitting at the podium saying something and that's it.
I believe with the presence that we have here, it should be appropriate to call for a town hall.
I think if you really want one, we can put one together for you.
We are the Government Study Commission, and we're looking to change things for the city, and that's one of the things we've been discussing. So we have meetings every other week, and it's open to the public.
Work with us. We work better together than apart. And I really hope they do listen to us, listen to a lot of the immigrants. This town was built on immigrants, and that's one thing I'm the most proud of, is because of the hard work that was put into this city. And I want them to educate us so we can keep taking care of this city.
On Friday, I obtained a letter addressed to City Solicitor Sean Logston from the Community Justice Project in ACLU, challenging the authority of Mayor Cusat and Chief Schoonmaker to unilaterally sign the 287G agreement without City Council. It cited the third-class city code. In the letter, they requested that Hazleton immediately cease implementing the 287G agreement until it could be considered by City Council. And that brings us to something else I've been working on. For the last couple months, I've been filming at Luzerne and Lackawanna County Council meetings where people are stepping up to public comment to voice their opinions on immigration. But what can county-level government actually do about it? So I thought I'd put together a video that highlights the perspectives of people in northeastern Pennsylvania and also the constraints of county government. Until then, I'm Kelly DeSoy.